Federal Ministry of Transport.
Help yourself.
Ministry of Transport.
Honorable members, my name is Zakar Sadu, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Transportation.
Brief on Federal Ministry of Transport. The Federal Ministry of Transport is appearing before the Committee on the Entrepreneur's Report for the year ended 31st December 2011 and 2013. The Ministry has a total of 17 queries raised against it in the following years and paragraphs. 2010, 8 queries in paragraph 5.159, A to H. 2011, 5 queries in paragraph 8.38, A to E. And 2013, 4 queries in paragraph 5.28, A to E. It last appeared on 15th of June 2016, and the committee examined paragraph 5.159, A of the 2010 report, relating to payment voucher dated 11th March 2010 for 3,905,000 naira paid to a chief information officer and 33 others as DTA and transport allowance during the Honorable Minister's working visit to the dredging location across the Federation. It was observed that the payment was made from the legal consultants of air, the South State Fleet Legal Matters. The committee directed that the sum of 3,905,000 naira must be paid back in Treasury within 7 days, and the receipt should be submitted to the committee for citing. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Of repayment.
The sum of 3,905,000 naira paid to the Chief Information Officer under our explanatory note, were charged to legal consultants of head, and the expenditures were items used in the activities of legal consultants. The minister's tower of the estates was settled.
Yes, my question is, do you have the evidence of repayment of that sum to the Treasury? We have heard all these defense before we arrived at that decision. Do you have the evidence of repayment with you?
No, repayment was not made, but there are explanations and the issues on each side. Regarding the discrepancies on the fuel receipts and to explain the obvious discrepancies on the fuel receipts. On page 44 is the evidence for that, and he offered explanations. The letter, which is on page 45, and also provided honor certificates for the payments he made, which are also attached on pages 46 to 48.
For this agenda.
All right. We're talking about now is an issue that has already been concluded. And the directive has been given, and that they should just fund this money to the Treasury and produce any sale. And we are here again trying to give us another. Are we reopening? Are we a court of appeal? Are you appearing in an appeal before the same court that you gave a verdict on the same issue? Or can we be an initial court and be another appeal court too?
I don't think there's any need for us to even discuss this matter. It's for us to receive documents of compliance with the verdict that we arrived at this sitting of 2016. Otherwise, there will be no need for us sitting down here if the issues after passing verdict will return again to give reasons why they were not implemented. So, Mr. Chairman, I think there's need for us to take a very stringent measure on this matter to ensure that something will not occur. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And the Cabinet Secretary will give you 7 days within which to make that payment and come back with evidence of payment. We are not seated here to waste our time or your own time. You are the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Transport, and you ought to be in your office now. So you can't bring us back here to revisit that issue. That's why I've got for the Sergeant at Arms. We might keep you until that payment is made. We don't have an option because if we arrive at a decision, I think that decision
must be complied with.
This is the Parliament of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You don't come back here several months after we have given you 7 days to comply, and then you come back to tell us the same story. We proceed with other queries. On this query, we have concluded with it. So until that money is paid back to the federal government cover, then we can allow you to go. We send for the Sergeant at Arms. So ask him to take you when we conclude with the ministry's query to the appropriate quarters, and then until the money is paid, then you can be allowed to go. So that we begin to add some teeth to what we are doing. So, Auditor General, please proceed with the other queries.
So, Your Honor, can I speak?
Not on this issue. You can speak. We will come with the other queries and then we can make progress.
Because nobody gave me any 7 days instruction.
Not you, the ministry. It's on record.
That's what I'm saying. And the accounting officer of the ministry, I have not seen that order.
Hereafter, you will see the order. So I think we have passed that.
How can I see the order after? And we
Permanent Secretary, don't worry. We'll get to that. Auditor.
Paragraph 5.1959B. Cash advance totaling 22,097,601.60 crore granted to 77 members.
Let's flow with you. What
2010.
Which of the queries?
5.159B.
5.11 is 5.160.
That's what I
But what they call this one? This one.
Auditor, I'll check your 5.160.
Absolutely. That's a Federal Ministry of Aviation. That's what I
Aviation. Yes. The query, as at the time of this query, aviation was part of transport. So it's Federal Ministry of Transport, Aviation Sector.
Paragraph 5.160. Federal Ministry of Aviation. At the Federal Ministry of Aviation, for the 5 members of staff, we are granted non-personal advance totaling 1,135,000. Sorry, please. 1,135,176,338 naira to execute various programs, purchase and service between the month of March and December 2010. Whereas, at the time of writing this report in June 2011, the officer were yet to retire the advances. Hence, the whole sums of 1,135,176,338 should be recovered from the
defaulting officers in accordance with extant regulation.
Governance Secretary, your response.
And 135,176,338 naira in the Auditor's General query. Actually 1,095,796,984 naira 59 kobo was actually remittances to agencies, to 3 agencies of the ministry, namely Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, that was given 555,578,881 naira 59 kobo, as can be seen in Appendix 2A. NIMET, Nigeria Meteorological Agency, was given 239,988,703 naira in Appendix 1A, while Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria was given 300,229,400 naira, as can be seen in Appendix 8 of the booklet. All the agencies have retired their remittances. The payment vouchers capturing the retirements have been forwarded to the Federal Reserve Authority accordingly. We may kindly refer to Appendices 1A, 2A, and 8. The amount that relates to actual advances was 39,379,303 naira for Twampo. And that as at date, as at then, 2012, 90 million naira was outstanding. But as at date, the whole 90 million naira has been fully retired. And can be seen in Appendix 1A of pages 6 to 25 of volumes 1 and 2 of the main report. Pages 6 to 25 of volumes 1 and 2 of the main report.
Colleagues, FAMSEC, this is a very, very worrisome issue. Mr. Chairman, honorable colleagues, I can't see myself who come from the local place that advance of 1.7 billion is given to staff on purchases, not even contracts. Mr. Chairman, I think my submission is that this officer must list how much and what was purchased with this 1.something billion. Because putting only this amount, Mr. Chairman, it's a serious matter. Because I can't see watching Nigeria profit and just for the 5 people benefiting 1.3 billion, 1.1 billion, Mr. Chairman. It's a serious matter. I think we need to know what and what was purchased with this money. Thank you.
Chairman. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. FAMSEC, you mentioned that most of these monies were remitted to agencies under your organization. I said you have mentioned in your response that most of these monies were remitted to agencies under your organization, right? Yes. What are they for, please?
These remittances was to execute various activities of Nigeria activity celebrations at that time.
Sorry, Permanent Secretary. You have referred to some documents, Appendix 1A.
Appendix 2A, Appendix 1A.
1A is on page 6 to 25. Let's know the document you are referring to. From our secretariat.
Appendix 2A.
I can see 2 big volumes you have here.
Yes.
I see on the page.
Eh?
What page?
When you check appendix 2A, which is this big volume.
Clerk,
What page?
please ensure that members have the same document that the appearing agencies have. If you're not certain, go and look at the document you have and ensure that it's clear to members. Because you are not on the same page.
Why we are trying to confirm the document here so that we on the same page. There was a question that Deputy Chairman asked that he has not clearly answered. As a ministry that disbursed or remitted monies to agencies, the agencies must have written to the ministry then stating why they need that amount of money. And that was the question Deputy Chairman of the committee asked. What were the things for which they requested those amounts of money that you remitted to the agencies for? Before we even go to talk about appendix, we should have known, himself should have the record that these and these and these are what they wanted to do for which we remitted this amount of money to them. I think they should answer that question.
Thank you, Chairman. Before you even go at all, the first step is to know the answer first. Question has been raised. Where are the evidences of how they spend the money? I believe in the query, if you have that one, that will be stated what they use the money for. If we want to go into the request, that means we have to look for their file. Because it takes from one thing to another, the money has been spent. Or the person have seen it, that they spend the money. But how do they spend, what do they spend it on? Evidence of spending the money. If you want to ask them to go and be bringing all those things, that means that's for the initiation of the process. That will take a long way. What we need now is get us where you have this thing. It's not left for us now to confirm that that appendix is support the way they give it to you. All those will be the file that related to the query.
I think I want to agree with my previous speakers. What we are just asking for is the justification for this said amount. Because according to the document before us, the sum of 1.something billion were broken down into 3 major agencies here. So we want to give the PS a fair hearing. What this committee is all about is to ensure that we get value for every money that is spent, for every money that is appropriated for. So we'll appreciate the situation where you give us further justification of the said amount. You stated here that the money was used for 950. I think we need further evidence. Just break it down. Okay, so amount is spent for so purpose. That's just justification so that we don't jump into conclusion. What we're trying to do here is to give you a fair hearing on how this amount was spent. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, honorable members, very sincerely, it appears our secretariat is still on holidays. Because I can see volumes of documents, volume 1, 2, 3, 4. Perhaps if we had all the documents before us, some of these issues would be contained therein. But, Permanent Secretary, let me ask you clearly, these agencies, the 3 agencies, don't they have separate budgets which they bring before the National Assembly?
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. You see, it depends on circumstances and issues that may come up from time to time. I want to believe, I'm just talking from what I have seen from the time I assume that position. When certain projects come up, there will be need to appropriate monies to agencies, even though it is already appropriated. It is appropriated within the budget, but then these monies are released from time to time. But as a result of a particular project that may come up, just for instance, what just happened at the closure of the Abuja Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport. Certain monies that would have otherwise been released to FAN or NIMET or NAMA at the tail end of December would necessarily have to be released far earlier than that in order to actualize a particular project. So I want to submit that when that Nigeria at 50 project was taking place, such were the reasons where the ministry had to come in as the coordinator to ask for these monies for the agencies and then release these monies to the agencies for them to perform the various projects they were supposed to perform. And as I can see from the submissions submitted by the various agencies, have you gone through the appendices we have given? For instance, like NIMET, if I can mention.
Chairman.
Like NIMET.
Let's give him fair hearing.
The answer, we put the question to him. The answer given, this one, Nigeria Space 500 was given today. How do they use it? When we now look at the answer given to us, we now know at what time do they supposed to give that one. That's when the question now come in and you now give us the answer. If you are giving us the answer now and we don't have other things, it will exercise infiltrating. Because
that's why I wanted to come. It is either we step down the query for the secretariat to go and get copies of the response. That's a set that I have here.
Yes.
So if we have it, it will help us to make progress. So it is either we step down the query for now, maybe for 10-15 minutes, clerk. If we step it down for 15 minutes, are you sure you can get these documents from your archives? Either we step it down for 15 minutes, or we take another day for Minister of Transport to come, in which we sort out the issues. The Sergeant at Arms will take the permanent secretary.
What are you worried about?
So we are looking at the issue whether we should step down for 15 minutes or to take another day.
Take that one. Clark, will you be able to get a statement for us in 15 minutes?
take another day.
Sure.
I want to go to the archives now.
Chairman, I think we need to take another day.
That's on this one.
Before you tell me on this one, for us to check another day, I want to ask you Kamsek, on the 13th of June 2016, where were you?
13th of June.
Yeah, 2016.
When did you assume duties? Your mindset.
Or when did I assume duty?
As council.
As Council Federal Minister of Transportation.
Yes. Use your mind.
I assumed duty on the 10th of November 2015, effectively 15th November, but appointed 10th November 2015.
So were you here on the 16th of June 2016?
13th November 2015.
Yes.
Here in this hall.
Yes.
Yes, I was.
Okay, you appeared on that day we do that ruling on for the reform of that
2016.
Yes.
That was last year. I know I came here about 5 times. And the first time we came, I came here, it was around December. Immediately I was appointed. I was invited here, 2015. So when I came, the first query that was taken, we agreed that we should go back and perfect it and come back. We now went back. That was why you now see in the document, you will now see a column that will say current action, which I personally introduced after going through the...
No, I mean, did you appear on behalf of Ministry of Aviation
On the
or on Ministry of Transportation on the 13th of June?
No, I did not, because I was not even around. I wrote that I was and sought for a permission that I was to travel out. So since that December 2015, I did not appear before this committee until today. But I have come several times. It has been
Who was the permanent secretary of the Federal Ministry of Aviation around June 2016, before the merger?
No, the merger was since my appointment. The two ministries were merged. But I never appeared before this committee, apart from the appearance on that December 2015. November, December 2015.
Whether he appear or he didn't appear, the secretariat should go and change the register on that date and look at who actually appeared. That is actually the case. At least there's a column for the system to sign. Sure. Thank you, Chairman, all colleagues. He's not saying I'm going to pay. He's just saying he wasn't here. Hold on. What I'm asking for is give him a little bit more time, maybe 24 hours or 48 hours to make sure he remains his money. And I'm sure he's going to oblige this time. And I'm sure he's going to pay this time instead of going back and forth. Let's just out of order. Yeah, don't talk about that.
Very much out of order.
He was not here.
Chairman, you are too magnanimous.
Very much out of order.
Let's give him time to go out.
Chairman, you are too
Out of order, you are still talking.
Are you the chairman to rule the chairman?
Dear colleagues, there was a meeting that day. Why did we get there? The conclusion was read to the PAPSEC. As a reminder, the PAPSEC now went back to defend you. That's why what's that matter? There was a meeting that day. If the PAPSEC is not there, it means he delegated somebody. And it is not the PAPSEC that the verdict was passed to as a person. It's the ministry. So he happened to be the chief accounting officer of the ministry. So the boss comes at his table. It's not a personal issue. So people confirm there was a meeting, yes. Was there a verdict? Yes. Was 7 days given? Yes. So it should be the internal problem or issue that within the ministry, if those who represented the ministry refuse to convey that recommendation, that conclusion to the PAPSEC.
If we take that, so we know the Catholic authority. It is an accounting will normally attend to.
Anytime they come, we attend to the matter of course, we cannot delegate.
We are waiting for chairman's ruling. These things are aside. Obita dictate.
P.E. Mohammed in your ministry.
Second.
P.E. Mohammed in your ministry.
Yes, he was the director of finance in the ministry.
P.E. Mohammed appeared on that day acting on behalf of the permanent secretary.
Can I speak?
Yes, correct.
As the permanent secretary of Federal Ministry of Transportation, I take full responsibility for whatever might have happened. If someone appeared on my behalf, and maybe there are issues somehow, I want to plead to this honorable house that if there was a directive as such, which unfortunately was not made known to me until now, when I appeared to defend the case again, I want to appeal to this honorable house to please give me an opportunity to look into that directive and comply. I so submit.
My question is very simple. PAMSEC, do people represent you without your knowledge? And if they actually represent you with your knowledge, don't you get a feedback from the officers you delegate to carry responsibilities on behalf of you and the ministry?
I have earlier on said that as the permanent secretary, I take full responsibility. Whether whoever represents, if he decides to give full explanations of what transpired, or he decides not to, I have taken full responsibility. And I plead to this honorable house to please give me the opportunity to effect the directives of this honorable house. Thank you, Honorable.
Pertaining the query before us from the Ministry of Transportation are so enormous. First, I look at the PAMSEC agreeing to 1,095 million and not 1,165 million. No explanation there. Secondly, all the appendices, the claim attached, none of them is clear. And they are not here. Number three, Mr. Chairman, the PAMSEC cannot recall when last he appeared before us. That is also an issue. Number four, the people that appeared before us from the Ministry of Transportation appears they are not known to the PAMSEC, and so he's not aware of all the resolutions that were carried out. And Mr. Chairman, I can go on and on because the issues are so many. I will suggest, Mr. Chairman, that the PAMSEC take a lead so that all these issues will be reconciled. We are hoping that by the time he comes back here, even if it's going to be tomorrow, we will have all the issues properly streamlined so that the committee can address the issues as they are, and then the fair treatment will be given to both parties. I so submit, Mr. Chairman.
Secretary, we have left the idea of getting the appendix or not. There's a question that you are requesting for time, but I want to ask you. You said you are not here, and for those of us here, we have to take this thing seriously now. That is why we don't take any officer unless that person will take responsibility and take a decision on it. Because for other things, they may deny it. You send somebody here to come and represent you. If on that day your accounts, your bank account was directed, we gave a directive that should be closed. I know your director of finance will have briefed you and will have called us to know that you are going to be run aground. I am not convinced that your director of finance does not give you feedback. I was sent in here to come and represent you. The decision that was taken by this honorable house, the entire Nigeria took that decision. You just took us for granted. Maybe these people will not know what they are doing to reverse us back. I will give a decision. I will not reverse our decision unless extremely necessary. Because taxpayers' money was involved, and I someday sitting down here like other police have been paid with taxpayers' money, either 1 naira or 2 naira. I was supposed to give account for that money that was paid, including yourself. I believe it was a deliberate act, Mr. Chairman. We have to look at that. But be that as it may, we have pleaded leniency and let other agencies of the government take note of that, that we are not weak in taking our decision. Maybe the chairman will look at it from the humanitarian angle of it. Being the first offender that is happening in this house, the chairman can now take a decision on it.
The PS has pleaded for leniency and for a second chance. I want to also confirm with my colleagues that give him a second chance to probably go back and straighten up the document, look at relevant areas where we need to make amendments and probably get back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I realized that on the set date, PE Momodu comment, there's a PE Iroro. Who is PE Iroro? You are PE Iroro. So, can I, you are that sitting now? Were you aware the decision was reached that day, ma'am?
No. What we were told was that we should go back and check, and if possible, invite the officer concerned to come back, to come and appear before the house. And if he refuses to appear, that he should be asked to reform. If he refuses to give a successful explanation.
Madam,
good explanation.
Madam, we went back to the archive to check what was written down. It is very, very clear that ask the officer, and we are given 7 days to ask the officer to reform. Not that you should bring him here or make him comply or not. Very direct. So, ma'am, did you report back that to the council?
Well, I don't report to the council directly. I report, yes, I don't report. But I know clearly that we were told that the officer should be notified.
Madam, you have any record to show? You have any record to show?
No, let me check about 3 others. So it's not
We can get the verbatim report, madam. We can get you the verbatim report of that. We can get it for you. It's recorded.
Thank you. We have other agencies that are waiting for us. Mr. Chairman, sitting of the Public Accounts Committee is a quasi-judicial sitting. Mr. Chairman, for every ruling or directive issued out, it's like a judgment of a court of law. And Mr. Chairman, once a directive or a ruling has been done, Mr. Chairman, the committee is functus officio, except to the effect of ensuring that his ruling or pronouncement is complied with or enforced. Mr. Chairman, even in court of law, Mr. Chairman, under what circumstances are rulings varied? Are such circumstances existing? The answer is no in capital letters. Mr. Chairman, save our time. The committee has come to a conclusion, and there was a ruling and there was a directive which has been flouted without any justifiable explanation. Mr. Chairman, let's get to the next item. That's my submission.
Chairman, can I support the second motion? It is a motion. It is a motion. I want to say. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Agbedi Yejemina Frederick is my name. I represent Sabama Ekirimo Federal Constituency. It's Uncle me, I'm from Bayelsa State and a member of this committee. Mr. Chairman, I second the motion as ably moved by Honorable Africa Gabriel Oyife.
They have been taking the decision on that several months, almost a year ago. But let me say that first, our sitting today is called not because of their own making, but because of the fact that copies of the responses by the ministry will not be made available to members on time by the secretaries. Based on that, we are compelled to adjourn the consideration of the query for Minister of Transport. Again, we had ordered that the Permanent Secretary be remanded pending the payment of the said sum of 3,905,000 naira back to the Treasury. However, the Permanent Secretary has made a plea here himself, and I'm also listening to the intervention of members of the committee. Most importantly, the issue of contempt of this committee, which was committed ex facie pure, since the Permanent Secretary was not personally before the committee on the day of this ruling. Therefore, we will be lenient in exercising our discretion, since the contempt was not in the face of the committee but outside the committee. Coupled with the fact that one P.E. Momodu from our records, the DFA and acting Permanent Secretary appeared on that same day, and Dr. Mrs. P.E. Iroko, who is also before the committee today. And indeed, from the response of Dr. Mrs. Iroko, the Permanent Secretary was not notified of the ruling of this committee. We therefore temper not just justice with mercy, but clearly show to the public that we are not after any Nigerian citizen. Our interest is not for anybody to suffer, but to ensure that institutions of government are strengthened and public officers comply with rules and regulations that are in place. That is, that we rule in line with the law. In the circumstance, will allow the Permanent Secretary 48 hours to regularize the order of this committee, that is to pay back from the ministry back to federal government cover the sum of 3,905,000 naira within 48 hours. The query is hereby adjourned to the 13th day of July 2017. That is Wednesday next week. Madam, let us also caution you, because ordinarily we would have been persuaded to come after you because you were here on the day this decision was arrived at. And the fact that even before us, when you were asked questions, you were trying to be evasive and telling us that what we arrived at was not actually what happened before the committee on that day. The records are clear. That is like telling us that we lied before us. We would have put you on trial, bring the records for you to contradict the records. This is a public hearing. We don't know who sits here, who will go out tomorrow to say that the Public Accounts Committee perhaps lied against you. We take such issues very seriously. There's nothing wrong in saying that, yes, I was here, I heard that, but I forgot, or I did not tell the Permanent Secretary. You're human. And that's why we keep cautioning. If you appear before us, try and tell us the truth. The permanent secretary made a plea. We are not here after anybody. But we must ensure that when we leave this place, others will come in and sit here. As you leave your office, others will come in. If there is an instruction from the parliament, it should be obeyed to the letter. If there is an instruction from your permanent secretary to you, the first thing you do is to obey. You can then give your reasons why it should be otherwise. We pray that this kind of situation should not come up again, because we might not be this lenient. We'll advise you to go back, put your house in order, and then on Wednesday next week, let us look at the queries and make progress. We discharge you, permanent secretary. Thank you. We don't want to hear from anybody again. You can go. When you come back on Wednesday, we'll continue. Thank you. So please come back with evidence of payment on Wednesday. That's our ruling.